In this video, we're going to tell you everything you need to know about rent-to-own and lease option purchases. With today's market, owning a home can be a dream that feels out of reach to most people. However, with rent-to-own and lease options, you may be able to make that dream a reality. In this video, we'll break down what these options are, how they work, and give you actionable steps for moving forward. Hello and welcome back to Living in Spokane, Washington, the channel where we cover anything and everything about living in Spokane. If you're new to the channel, my name's Hunter McKay, and I'm a local real estate expert with over a decade of experience in the Spokane real estate market. If you live in Spokane, or you're looking to make a move, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, that way you know when we release our upcoming videos. Whether you're ready to move tomorrow or just considering Spokane as an option, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to hop on a call or a Zoom just to find out what you're looking for and give you my insider knowledge about Spokane. So first of all, I want to be clear, rent-to-own is kind of a blanket term in real estate that can mean a lot of different things. And so we really want to be careful and analyze each deal dependent on what the terms of that deal are. Today, we're going to discuss two really normal and regular kinds of rent-to-own options in the local Spokane market. The first one is what we call an owner-carry contract, and the second one is a straight lease option purchase. Let's start with a lease option because I think it's a little bit more straightforward to understand. First and foremost, it works kind of like a rental contract. There will be a lease amount where the tenant pays the owner of the property a fixed amount every month. However, there's also an option to purchase the contract. Now, this option likely costs money and might have some terms inside the agreement where part of the rent is contributing towards the total purchase price, or maybe not. It depends on the individual agreement between the tenant and the landlord. But the most common situation would be, hey, I want to buy property A for $400,000, but I can't afford it right now, or my credit isn't right, or something is happening in my personal life that prohibits me from continuing with traditional financing. And so me as the tenant would go to the landlord and say, hey, I want to rent this property from you for 36 months. And over that 36-month period, if at any point in time I can fix the things that are in my way from purchasing the property from you for $400,000, then I will take that option. At that point, I would serve a notice to the landlord and say, hey, I'm now ready to buy the property. Now, a whole bunch of different things go into determining if I can buy this property. Was my credit correct? Do I have traditional financing in place? Do I have a job? And most importantly, what were the original agreements between me and the landlord? Is part of my rent going and chipping away at the total purchase price? Or is it just getting me privilege and having the opportunity to option and buy that house when I'm ready? There are two different situations. An owner-carry contract is the second type of lease option. And it's not really a lease option because you're not leasing the property. You actually have a contract for sale. And so what happens is the buyer, or the renter in this case, says, hello landlord, I want you to play bank, and so I agree to buy your property at $400,000. But then the landlord and the tenant have to agree to an interest rate and a monthly payment and an amortization schedule, just like they would have in a traditional financing scenario. The only difference is that there's no bank giving the money. There's a tenant agreeing to pay monthly installments and a property owner agreeing to sell and give title of the property once that contract is complete. And so what happens is you would record the contract in place of having a recorded title because the title won't have transferred until you as the tenant have made all of the payments to the landlord. Then the property would fully transfer to you. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Hunter, this all sounds a little bit complicated. Why wouldn't I just go get a loan, or why wouldn't I go get a standard rental? Well, there are a lot of benefits to both sides for this. Let's start with benefits for the renter. If you enter into a lease option purchase, you have a fixed interest rate or a fixed rental amount, usually for a more durable period of time. Your lease option might be 2 or 3 or even 5 years, so you can know that your rent is going to be fixed for that period of time, allowing you to save up money and wait for an economically opportune time. Maybe the interest rates are lower, maybe you get a bonus, maybe you inherit some money when someone passes away. There are lots of different reasons that you might want to elongate your control over property that you want to buy for 3 or 5 years without actually having to put up all of that money. Now, if it's an owner-carry contract, it's really because a situation like today's market might be around. We have 8% interest rates and people want houses, but they can't afford the payment. And so if you can find a landlord or a property owner that's willing to give you a lower interest rate over a 5 or a 7 year time frame, that would give you the ability to buy the house today and refinance it later. And so again, a great opportunity for the renter. Now, why would a landlord do this? Well, if no one's available to buy their home because they can't afford it, and they can't afford the rent that they would need, then sometimes an owner carry or a lease option purchase can be the most safety and security that a landlord can get during a fluctuating market. One of my favorite examples of this is an owner in Rosalia. It's a little town outside of Spokane, just a whisper and a blink and you'd miss it. But it's a really hard town to sell property in because it has a very small rural population. And so when homes go up for sale, they just don't sell very quickly, even if they're in good condition and priced right. However, this is usually driven by a failing economic capacity for the people that want to buy in Rosalia. There's either people who have cash and are retired, or people who have farmed in the area and have plenty of money, or those who really don't qualify for traditional financing or the traditional rent. And so this lady who lives in Rosalia was able to sell her home on a contract, and it was a 30-year contract, and it has been paying her retirement at a higher price than she would have gotten for rent, and delivered the home into the hands of a local owner at a lower price than they otherwise would have gotten with traditional financing. And so it was a win-win for both sides. Okay, Hunter, I'm sold. So how do I get started? What are my actionable steps? You promised me those. Okay, all right, here they are. 1, you have to research properties that are available for rent-to-own or lease options. Check with your local real estate agents or search for online listings. 2, make sure you understand the terms of the contract. This is really important. This is everything including the purchase price, the length of the lease term, and any fees or penalties that you might incur during the process. Number 3, get pre-approved for a mortgage in advance. You need to know how much you can afford to borrow when it comes time to buy the property, or you need to know what steps you need to take in order to get prepared to buy the property. 4, consider hiring a real estate attorney to review the contract and ensure that your rights are protected. 5, make sure you keep up with rental payments and work towards improving your credit score so you'll be able to qualify for the mortgage when the time comes. Remember, you can't control the interest rate, so pay attention to what the market is doing. 6, be prepared to negotiate. Rent-to-own and lease options can be more flexible than traditional mortgages, so don't be afraid to ask for changes to the contract if you feel it's in your best interest. Alright, so you're thinking, Hunter, this is all pretty cool. I mean, it sounds challenging. Maybe if I find the right property, the rest of it is home free, right? No, there are some real drawbacks that I want you to consider. In a traditional mortgage, you're usually locked in for a 30-year amortization. That means for 30 years, your payment isn't going to change. And at the end of that 30 years, your mortgage is going to be paid off and you're going to own that asset. That isn't necessarily going to be the case with your lease option or your owner carry contract. Most of them are going to have call terms or limits. And what that means is that after a certain period of time, the entire mortgage payment is going to become due. And so let's say you buy a home for $400,000. Over a 5-year period, you might only pay off $25,000 or $50,000 depending on what the interest rate is. At the end of that 5 to 7 years, that could be your call time for that loan to become due and payable. And out of nowhere, you would owe $350,000. That's why you have to be prepared to refinance the property or sell the property. But again, we don't always know that properties go up in value. Sometimes they go down. Sometimes interest rates go up. We always have to be prepared for the economic situation to change. And so that's where we need to have extra cash on hand and an ability to pivot if something goes wrong. In conclusion, rent-to-own and lease options can be great opportunities for renters to enjoy some or all of the benefits of homeownership without a lot of the upfront down payments and fees. However, you just have to be careful that you understand the contract and that it's really working in your favor, or that you can stomach the parts that aren't. If you're interested in exploring owner-carry contracts or lease option purchases, we recommend reaching out to a local real estate broker. I'll be sure to help you find out exactly what's perfect for you. With that, thanks for watching our video, and I hope you learned everything you wanted to know about rent-to-own and lease option purchases. If you loved our video, please leave a question or a comment, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing to the channel, you'll be the first to know when we release new upcoming videos, and they're full of information that can help you make a decision about moving to Spokane and everything you need about buying a home in the local area. As always, whether you're looking to move to Spokane now or just considering it in the future, I'd be more than happy to hop on a phone call and share all the info I have about Spokane.